Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
All right, welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have a guest for you this evening, Mr. Chris Iverson, and some clips from the upcoming movie The Green Goddess, which we've showed clips of in the past. It's finally coming together. We'll be talking a little bit more about that. We have a hemp news segment, music segment with Tim Pate and John, and we'll be taking your calls shortly. But first, we'll start off with our infamous Dancing Cannabis Leaves. Our first story tonight is from New Mexico, from the Carlsbad Current Argus out near those caves. A paraplegic man who holds a medical marijuana permit from the state of New Mexico filed a lawsuit Thursday against Eddy County, New Mexico, and several county law enforcement officers for their part in a drug raid that seized his marijuana plants and growing equipment, attorneys announced. Also named as defendants in the suit are David Edmondson, commander of the Pecos Valley Drug Task Force, and four unidentified Eddy County Sheriff's deputies. The suit was filed in State District Court in Carlsbad by the ACLU. The American Civil Liberties Union has come to bat. Leonard French, 44, was using marijuana to control pain and muscle spasms that resulted from a spinal cord injury he received in a 1987 motorcycle accident, he said in an earlier interview. French had received a license to cultivate and use small quantities of marijuana for medicinal purposes under the Lennon Aaron Compassionate Use Act, under New Mexico law that just passed this year, or in 2007 to be more accurate. The complaint states, the American Civil Liberties Union of New Mexico, which is representing French, said the deputies violated several laws, including a constitutional prohibition on unreasonable search and seizures. In addition to asking the court to bar the state from interfering with his right to use marijuana under the medical marijuana law in New Mexico, French also seeks compensatory damages and attorney fees. Eddy County Sheriff Kent Waller said Thursday that he had not seen the lawsuit yet. He said, quote, to my knowledge, we've not actually received anything yet. We've received a notice that we were reserving the right to sue, however, end quote. On September 4th, the Eddy County, New Mexico deputies working with the Pecos Valley Drug Task Force arrived at French's house in Malaga, New Mexico. French said, quote, they said they were here about the marijuana. I thought they were here to make sure I was in compliance with the new law, end quote. French showed the deputies his state license to grow marijuana, then showed them his equipment and his plants. The deputies took the equipment and the plants, turning them over to the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration. French has not been charged with any violations of federal drug laws, the attorney stated. According to Peter Simpson, the ACLU executive director in New Mexico, as stated in a news release, he said, quote, with Compassionate Use Act, New Mexico embarked on an innovative project to help people who suffer from painful conditions like Mr. French's. The law cannot succeed if the threat of arrest by county and local law enforcement hangs over participants in the program. With this lawsuit, the ACLU hopes to clear the way for the state to implement a sensible, conservative program to apply a drug that traditionally has been considered illicit for constructive purposes, end quote. The ACLU complaint is available online at aclu-nm.org. That's aclu-nm.org. This story was from the Carlsbad Current Argus there in New Mexico, written by Tom Moody and published yesterday, January 17th, 2008. Our next story is from the Washington Post, and it's written by Emil Steiner. Today, in Fort Collins, Colorado, a lawyer will walk into a courthouse and ask the city to pay his clients for destroying their marijuana. The motion for compensation asks Fort Collins to fork over $202,800, the most money ever sought in the destruction of a drug. In August 2006, police confiscated the plants from the home of James and Lisa Masters, both of whom on their doctor's advice, use marijuana to cope with a variety of debilitating illnesses. In fact, they're patients of the THCF medical clinics. Their house also serves as the county chapter of the Colorado Compassion Club, a statewide network that provides cannabis for medical marijuana patients. Since 2000, Colorado, like 12 other states, has allowed registered users to grow cannabis. But police officers have scant training and less guidance for handling a legal marijuana growing operation. They're not instructed to ask for permits, for example, and many officers believe medical marijuana protection inhibits their ability to bust illicit users. In June 2007, Larimer County Chief Judge James Hyatt dismissed charges against the couple and ruled that the 2006 raid was illegal. With that decision, he set into motion a test of the Colorado Constitution, Article 13, Section 14, which calls for the immediate return of any marijuana, quote, seized by state or local law enforcement officers from a patient or primary caregiver, end quote. In November, Judge Hyatt ordered a return of the Masters' property, including the medicinal marijuana plants. In December, the Masters went to pick them up, but after more than 16 months, their medicine was unusable. Police spokesperson Rita Davis explained, quote, we're not equipped with hydroponic growing equipment, end quote. Few evidence rooms are, but Colorado law states that, quote, any property used in connection with the medical use of marijuana shall not be harmed, neglected, injured, or destroyed while in the possession of state or local law enforcement officials, end quote. That's right there in the Colorado Constitution. According to their lawyer, the Masters want more than just monetary compensation. Brian Vincente of Sensible Colorado says, quote, we want to stop the police from destroying people's medicine and start following the law. The goal is to get the police to change their procedures. And that's from the Washington Post. It was written by Emil Steiner and published just yesterday, January 17, 2008. Our last story tonight is from Idaho. And this one's written in the Idaho Mountain Express by Terry Smith, an Express staff writer. They weren't killed outright, but the Haley City Council in Idaho effectively snuffed out 3 controversial marijuana reform initiatives that were approved by voters in November. Instead of repealing the initiatives, the council voted unanimously Monday to amend them into meaninglessness. Since the meeting was running late, the members scheduled a dissection of the 3 initiatives for their next meeting on January 28. That time, the council will consider sanitized versions of the initiatives prepared by the city attorney, Ned Williamson, who said he'll take out provisions contrary to federal or state law. All that will be left will be some sort of a marijuana oversight committee, originally intended in the initiatives as a way to work out the details of their implementation into law. Haley, Idaho Council President Martha Burke said the fact that the initiative passed shows that many voters want marijuana laws reformed, and a committee would give those voters an avenue to explore those issues. Burke said, quote, I think an awful lot of people want these laws addressed, end quote. But Idaho Haley Councilman Don Kern said that forming the committee would be a waste of public resources. And that's the end of our Hemp News segment for tonight. And we have Mr. John Cornett and Tim Pate here to launch into song. How are you folks doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Very well.
Cool.
It's good to see you back, John. I know you got quite a commute to get here.
Yeah, he came all the way from China.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was in China for the last 32 days. So, yeah, he just got back in town, I think, Monday night, something like that. Yeah.
Ah, well, welcome back. Okay.
Shall we?
I think we shall.
Okay, well, let's do it then. John Cornett.
John Cornett. And Tim Pate. And Chris Iverson. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Good, Paul.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Always good to be here.
It's good to be here, have you back. I know you just recently got the final version of The Green Goddess put together.
I have it. I haven't seen it. We just got it in today. I'm very excited that we've finished our movie now.
Yep, we're going to a screening of it tonight.
We are.
It's exciting. We've got some film clips. We'll be playing from that here in just a moment. If you're out there, though, and you'd like to give us a call, you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. Now, there's been a recent move in the special legislative session that could harm medical marijuana patients, and we have Miss Madeline Martinez, the director of Oregon Normal, on the line. Hello, Madeline. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Paul. How are you this evening?
Very well. Would you like to explain exactly what's coming up here on Tuesday, the 22nd of January?
Yes, Paul. On Tuesday, the 22nd at 9 a.m. At the Oregon State Legislature hearing room B, we are going to have a hearing during the special session on a legislative concept to fire employees that use medical marijuana. What they're saying is that they don't want medical marijuana patients to operate heavy machinery, and they want to legislate discrimination, in my opinion, Paul.
Exactly.
And I'm very upset about this. I had a long discussion with Representative Mike Scheffler this week, and he finally ended up having to admit that this is, in fact, discrimination.
Right. And is Scheffler one of the sponsors, or is he on the committee?
Yes, he's the chair of the committee. And what we're asking for your TV audience to do is to actually give these people a call, send them a letter, send them a fax. Make sure that you let your voice be heard, because if we don't stop this, it continues. This is the same evil legislative concept that was Senate Bill 465 last session.
So this isn't Senate Bill 465, though, this time. Does it have a number?
It doesn't have a number. I believe it's Legislative Concept 67 is what I think it is at this point. It's just come out so quickly. You know, if it's not out of committee in a week, it's going to die a slow, painful death. And that's exactly what we're hoping it'll do.
So we need people in Salem at the State Capitol building in hearing room what?
It's hearing room B.
Hearing room B, right there on the main level of the State Capitol. And that's at 9 a.m. on Tuesday the 22nd?
That's correct. And I have a phone number here, if I can broadcast a couple of numbers to your people, to please make an effort and call. This is Representative Scheffler's office in Salem. It's 503-986-1448.
What committee is this before? Is it the Senate committee?
This is before the Labor Committee.
Labor Committee?
Labor and Business Committee, of course, because pro-business is sponsoring this bill.
I see.
And the sad part is during the last legislative session when we were down there testifying, the actual contractors union person that is well, it's not even a union, it's contractors business, this pro-business alliance, was actually had to say that there had never been one case of a medical marijuana patient causing an accident. So this is really a non-issue that they're trying to make an issue out of.
And
you know what
so
I'm saying?
the number to call to register your disapproval of discriminating against medical marijuana patients in the workplace, that's 503-986-1448?
That's correct. And then there's a local number here in Portland. Representative Scheffler is in Happy Valley, and that number is 503-760-4446.
760-4446, and that's Representative Scheffler, and he's the chairman of the Labor Committee.
He is, in fact, the chair, and I'm going to be there testifying, as is Russ Balville, Melody Silverwolf, and we're going to try to see if we can actually pack that hearing room full of people to just stand there quietly and show their disapproval.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm scheduled to be in Spokane on that day, but we want to.
San Diego myself, so.
We want to see as many people down there as possible.
Sunday, because Sunday we're going to go out and actually canvass Representative Scheffler's district of Happy Valley and leave brochures on every single door that we can. So we need some volunteers. Call us at the Oregon Normal message line. That's 503-239-6110. And let us know that you want to come out and walk for freedom.
That's
All
a great
right.
idea, Madeline.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, you guys. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thank you. And so, one more thing, Madeline, before you go. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
On the 26th, is that a medical patients meeting that's going to happen?
It is. It's a cardholder meeting.
So it's going to be the same, but you're going to start doing them twice a month now.
Right. We're going to have a class on how to take cuttings. We're going to give out patient handbooks, and we're trying to teach patients to be self-sufficient. And we're actually going to take cuttings at the class. And there's just so much stuff happening. It's very exciting. This is OMMP 101.
All right.
What's
So
the
that'll
Oregon
be-
Normal's number, Madeline?
Oregon Normal's number is 503-239-6110.
Thank you.
You're so welcome, you guys.
Thanks,
for doing
Madeline.
such a
Thanks
great
for your
job
hard
out
work
there.
and keeping us apprised of these developments. I'm really glad you're
Yeah,
on
it
top
just
of
went
it.
out
Thank
on the
you.
National Normal Listserv as well.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, we're getting the word out. Thanks, you guys.
All right.
Oh,
Thank you.
Night-night.
Good night. So we urge you to contact your state legislator. Get down there on Tuesday morning if you can get to Salem. And if not, just call that number, 503-986-1448, and let the Labor Committee know that we oppose discriminating against medical marijuana patients in the workplace. You're on the committee there with Madeline. What is it called?
The Advisory Committee for Medical Marijuana.
I see.
Madeline and I sit on there together. I have the pleasure of serving with her on this committee, and
Right.
there's 11 of us on there.
Right.
And we, we advise the state program on the program itself and matters related to the program, so we can only advise them on this issue.
Right.
But really, as Madeline says, the most effective thing to do is go down there, make your voice heard, write letters, show up physically, make phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
It's only because of groups like Oregon Normal and people like Madeline and patients that will come out that these things actually change. So we need you to, become an activist temporarily, if even.
Yeah, that's what it takes. I mean, we've all got to come out of the closet and say enough is enough. It's time to end adult marijuana prohibition and legalize and regulate marijuana. And so let's talk a little bit more about your film. Now, about 6 years ago, you were in Switzerland.
I was.
And somehow you came to the point where you started cultivating cannabis legally in Switzerland. You want to just describe that a little bit?
Well, you got to go back to the mid-'90s.
Right.
When you and I were working on the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act together. You were in this building that we had, this crazy building,
The
downtown
Modish
Portland.
Building, 333 Southwest Park. It's historic
indeed,
now.
It
Yep.
was. It was.
Tim was in
And,
there many times.
You started the first medical marijuana dispensary here
Right.
in Oregon.
I had card number 00 in that.
You did.
Yeah, well, my wife and I both have card numbers as well. And so at one point you started finding out about cannabis coming from Switzerland. And
Right.
you decided to go over there. I remember your going away party. I got sidetracked that night and was sorry I missed it. But I know Teresa popped in there. But you...
Well, Ron
Got
Kaczynski. Remember
Yeah,
this guy
I do.
send all
In
those
California.
packages to President Clinton
Yeah,
filled with cannabis
that's right.
and hemp information?
right.
He had heard that cannabis was being grown in Switzerland legally, huge fields of it, and being sent all over the world legally, at least we thought at that time. So I started ordering some, and it came. And when we got it, we couldn't believe it. So we decided to go over there and take a trip, see what was going on in Switzerland. This is in 1997, just a few months after we started the Alternative Health Center in downtown Portland. And when I got over there, I was completely blown away. I was just dropped in the middle of all these huge fields, actually in the middle of the biggest hemp farm in Switzerland, where I became
Cannabis.
an employee, basically, and helped them make all these cuttings, and that's where it all started. And you came over that year.
Yeah, I helped you. They'd given
Helped
you a
us
little
harvest.
half hectare, which is a little bit more than an acre.
Yeah, an acre and a
they
half
have
or so.
10 hectares, though, which is about 22 or 23 acres.
A little more
So
than
you-
that, yeah.
yeah, you
About
helped them
30
make-
acres or so.
Yeah,
There.
you helped them make a bunch of cuttings, and they gave you a
Yep.
little parcel of land, and
Right?
we met up at the Regulating Cannabis Conference. It was put on by the Drug Policy Foundation, now
In
the
London.
Drug Policy Alliance in London. And I had just enough money to get there, and you flew me back to Zurich, and we went and I worked in your fields there.
Right.
It was a lot of fun. I feel
great.
like I have seen the promised land, folks, and I'm hoping we can bring it home here pretty soon.
I actually have another friend out in the audience here, Marty Zafina, one of my best friends in the whole world, and he was in Switzerland for years, so I'm pretty excited to have him here. He's the one that can always remember all the stories. He should actually be up here telling these stories. His memory is way better. He's a much better storyteller.
Don't get off. Come on.
It's not too late.
I think he's a little camera shy. But anyway, so we're growing in Switzerland, all these huge fields. In 2001, we had 10 hectares, which is about 28 acres. We had it in 5 different spots, and one of the spots was basically surrounded by huge high-rise apartment buildings. That's how legal it was there.
Right.
You could grow it out in the open. And so we grew this field, and we seeded the whole thing because we didn't want people to steal it, and we knew the police were going to be an issue. And then 9/11 happened. And what happened was the police had this huge master plan to come and wipe the whole hemp industry out that year. But then 9/11 happened, and they found themselves chasing terrorists around Switzerland. So they gave us a pass that year. But I was warned by the police, as was every other grower in Switzerland, that the next year they were going to come after us and shut us down, so we better be careful and be forewarned. So I took that to heart, and until then we had never allowed any photographers, any news media, none of the cannabis news. They all desperately wanted to come to Switzerland and film our fields, but we never allowed them because we just didn't want to put it in the Swiss government's face, and I was trying to be respectful and professional and didn't want to make a circus out of it, as I knew it would be. But that last year, when we knew it was all coming to an end, we decided to pull out all the stops, and we started filming everything we did.
This concept of a movie. You worked with some folks out of Hollywood and developed a script and brought in actors. And
right. We actually were filming before that for a couple of years. We got all this great footage, and then we realized what we had there was so special, we had to document it in a proper, professional way. So the story's quite long, so I won't tell it now, but basically we looked into old High Times, and there was an ad that had only been put there once. Send me your marijuana film ideas. I'll make a movie, and I'll put your name in the credits and give you $100. And this guy put this ad in the High Times magazine, so we called him like 2 years later. Still had the phone number. His name's Mark Schultz. And Mark came over to Switzerland, and we basically showed him pictures. It was late in the winter, in February or March, I think, and we only had pictures at that point. We showed him pictures. We were in Amsterdam with him, and we basically said, okay, we need to make a movie. And he said, okay, I'm going back to America, and I'll see you in maybe 6 months. I'll get a film crew together. We'll make the movie. And I said, you know what? We're planting in 3 weeks. He's like, you're kidding me. You mean you want me to go back to America, put a film crew together, bring him back here in 3 weeks? That's impossible. And
but
what
somehow
I said to him is, it's not impossible. It's actually a yes or no question. So he said yes, and we made the movie.
Just here this year, you had some final scenes that needed to be filmed, and you sent me a DVD, and I haven't seen this yet, but we're going to play a little clip of it right now, and then we'll come back and start taking viewer phone calls. So let's take a look at this. I think it's about 3 or 4 minutes of behind-the-scenes footage
with Dr.
the Green
Paul.
Goddess. So enjoy.
There'll be more as time goes by.
Hemp shirts, hemp paper.
Big Paul here. We're working hard, hardly working.
Back to you just a moment. Dr. Stanford, writing Soleil here to see you.
I'll be right there.
So I hear you guys came all the way from Switzerland.
Hello, welcome. Mr. Riley?
Yes.
And Soleil. Hi. Hi, nice to meet you. Welcome to our clinic.
Thank you. It's wonderful to meet you, Dr. Stanford.
Just call me Paul.
You're American.
Yeah, well, in the United States, unfortunately, we can't really do cannabis research because of the DEA. But here in Britain, we're able to develop signing new medications. One company, GW Pharmaceuticals, is developing 3 real cannabis extracts right now. Come on, let's show you around our clinic.
I would love that.
Great.
So do all of your treatments involve cannabis?
Yeah, he's back.
And cut. Action.
So do all of your treatments involve cannabis?
Yes, they do. We specialize in cannabis here. It's remarkably effective for everything from cancer and AIDS to glaucoma and multiple sclerosis. Let's go right down here. Riley, you must have had menstrual cramps sometime.
Yes.
I recommend cannabis for them. You'll be amazed how well it works. Now this is our vaporization room. Vaporization is an alternative to smoking. It's a lot healthier than smoking. When you smoke, less than 10% of what you inhale is the actual medicine, where with vaporization, 98% of what you inhale is the medicine. So it's a lot healthier.
That's cool.
Yeah. Let's go right over here. We also recommend ingesting cannabis. When you take cannabis orally, it's much more effective for pains, spasms, seizures, and blah, blah. Go ahead and have a seat. So what do you think of our clinic?
We're back.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, there it is.
Wow.
That's the first time I'd seen that, but I guess now it's come together. That was filmed by a guy with a camera in the
Yeah,
background.
that's behind the scenes. That's not actually in the movie. We're actually going to show you in a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks maybe, that exact scene, but as it will be in the movie, and you'll be able to see the difference. So it's pretty interesting when you look at it like that.
I'm sure he's edited it in a very professional way.
Oh yeah, it looks great. I haven't seen it, but I've heard.
We've got a little private screening tonight, so it should be interesting. Anyway, we are taking your phone calls tonight. If you have a question or comment about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, or helping medical marijuana patients, call us at 503-288-4448. We do have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello. How are you?
Very well.
I'm a new patient, and I was wondering what some of the most potent strains of cannabis are.
Gee, you know, all of them can be potent, and their potency can change depending on when you harvest. The
right there.
trichromes change, but you know, maybe we get camera 2 to close in on it. We do have a few samples of cannabis tonight, and in fact, I know this one, which is Green Queen, won
Potency
Award. When Mr. Iverson here grew it last
Couple years
year.
ago.
Yeah, last year.
And it's only gotten better.
2007. It's Green Queen, and that won an award for one of the most potent ones. This one is Nebula. We have the Nebula bud, and right here the purple Nurple, and all of those are pretty darn potent.
I see. I was confused by one thing. You know how they sell seeds online?
Sure, there are hundreds of companies doing that.
All the companies, some of them tend to say it's like there's 15% and 19% THC in the cannabis, and I really don't think that is like that. Are they just exaggerating? Or?
No, they're not exaggerating.
What they might be testing the flowers. It's really difficult to get those kinds of tests done, and they're very, very expensive.
Yeah.
However, you know, it's probably pretty accurate. I think what they're doing is they're letting the flowers mature and then testing part of the resin from the flowers.
I see. I just have one more question.
Sure.
Is it, now that I am an Oregon medical marijuana patient, is it illegal for me to order seeds online, or is that still
No,
frowned upon?
it's not legal to order seeds online. Getting it through the mail involves the federal government. Most people get things through the mail without any problems. However, it could cause some problems.
Yeah,
there are things like support groups out there like Oregon Normal. And
no, that was the problem with me is I just turned 20, and to go to the Oregon Normal meetings, you have to be 21.
Yeah.
But I have been on the forums you guys have are great, and I met someone on there.
Good.
That
Yeah, you can ask somebody on there. There are people willing to if you got your card or your caregiver does, then there are people willing to help you get your card.
Yeah, there was a guy, his name was Andrew. He was very nice, and he got me some clones, got me all set up for free, and it was awesome.
Right. He's a good guy. I think he screened your phone call, too.
Yeah. I would just like to tell you guys you're doing a great job, and keep it up. I watch your show all the time.
All right. Well, thanks for watching.
Okay. You guys have a nice night.
You too.
You know, I had a TV show last night, and it was live, and there was nobody screening in the back. So I'd like to say right here publicly, thank you, Andrew, for doing a great job screening all these shows all these years, because
you got some crazy calls
we don't
night,
get the nuts on this show like we did on last night.
Did a few.
I bet.
So real good job, Andrew.
He's gotten really good at it over the years. You know,
it makes a difference.
We hardly ever get the crazy calls they get through anymore.
The show goes smoother for that.
That's a fact.
Maybe it'd be good to point out to the caller that most people grow from cuttings. So you don't really need to find seeds. You know, if you can, it's actually better to grow from seed, but then you have to take out the males. You have to have a lot of vertical room.
You'll be lucky to have 1 or 2 of them be really good females.
Right.
The ones that are female, say 60% of them are female. Okay, now you're down to 6 strains. Maybe a third of those are really going to be the best of that variety. So you've got to pick out the best out of that 10.
Yeah.
We do have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the show. Hello.
Hello?
Yes,
we can hear you.
Oh, I can hear you too. I'm sitting here watching the TV.
We're listening to you too.
This is my first time ever seeing this station, and a friend of mine told me since I'm through Workman's Comp, I'm 65% disabled.
I see.
And that was in, I think, 2000. And since then, I've had a herniated disc that was pinching a nerve that they had to do surgery on. So it's something that I live with every day. And I'm just wondering, do people like me qualify for that, or what?
Oh, that definitely qualifies. I would say almost half of all the patients have it for a chronic pain condition. And many of those, or it's over 60% have it for chronic pain. Probably half of those have some sort of degenerative disc disease in their back, or herniated discs, or bulging discs, or compacted discs, or something like that.
Yeah, because see, I used to do a lot of manual labor, and now I can't do that at all.
So yeah, if you have that condition, then you can either go into your doctor and explain to them that you'd like to try medical marijuana, or if your doctor won't do it, or for some reason you don't want to have it in your regular medical records, there are doctors out there that specialize in that, and you can approach one of those and then have a private consultation that can help you get a medical marijuana permit.
Is there information online
There
for
is.
those doctors?
Yeah, the easiest way to find out about ours, well, there's a website there, but the best one is hemp.org. And just scroll down just a little bit. That's the easiest one to remember. It's HEMP.org. And you'll see some pictures of a doctor talking to a patient there. And just click on that and you'll get more information. We have a phone number. The number that's there on your screen is a physician referral line that will help you get a medical marijuana permit. Here in Portland, that number is 503-235-4606. And if you'll bear with me just a minute, I'm going to run through some other areas. This show actually plays in Washington and Colorado. And if you're up in the Seattle area, the number for the physician referral line is 206-878-1701. That's 206-878-1701. This show's the #1 cable access show in Denver, Colorado. We have an office there just outside of Denver. The number there in Denver is 303-403-9996. That's 303-403-9996. And we're down in Riverside, California. Riverside, California, the number is 951-782-9898. That's 951-782-9898. Now, if you're outside of those major metropolitan areas, we have doctors throughout California, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, Colorado, and Nevada that can help you get a medical marijuana permit. Call us toll-free at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. Thanks for your patience and bearing with me.
Thank you for your information.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So your movie is being promoted at the Sundance Film Festival right now, which is going on this week.
We actually didn't enter it because we're not quite finished with the post-production and special effects, things like that. But they would probably accept it in Sundance. I would think it's that good, hopefully. Our editor's down there. He's been editing in Hollywood for 20 years. He works on $20 to $30 million films. And he knows a lot of people at Sundance. So he's actually rented a condo right on Main Street, got a projector. He's just going to pull all these VIPs off the street that he knows and bring them in and show them the movie and make deals this next week.
You know, I have shown this here on the show a number of times here in the past few weeks. And then we have the holy hemp seed down here on the other end. This is hulled hemp seed that I just happened to pick up as I was driving across rural Colorado. And I noticed on the back that it's produced by a company in Park City, Utah. And tonight, as I was watching the news, I noticed the Sundance Film Festival is going on in Park City, Utah.
Go figure.
Holy hemp. That's some kind of a sign, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll say.
There you have it. Then we have here the hemp granola, Hemp Plus granola, which you can get just about anywhere. I got it at Trader Joe's, I think. We have a vaporizer. Now, this is an alternative to smoking. This is the Pink Elephant vaporizer that some of the people who volunteer on this show produce. It's got a heat gun from a hardware store, a little glass device that fills up this bag, and voila, you vaporize your cannabis with no smoke. That's a lot healthier way to do it. This is from Specific Medicines American Hemp. This would come in, this would be filled with about 1.5 ounces of crushed marijuana flowers. It's American hemp and was used for medicinal purposes.
How old is that bottle? Or what?
The bottle
How
is
old
from
that?
1810. I mean 1910. Excuse me, 1910.
Wow.
This is a roll of hemp twine, fine hemp twine, and it's multicolored. I think it's pretty colorful there, and it's just another instance of one of the things cannabis can be used for. And then here we have some marijuana flowers: purple nurple, nebula, green goddess.
I think that might be purple Urkel.
It's got an N on there.
Purple Nurple.
It says nurple.
Must be a new kind of purple.
Yeah, must be. I know, Andrew, we just named a strain the Green Goddess in honor of the movie. So
it'll be about the fourth one
really
named Green Goddess, but
well, this one will have to go to the forefront, I think.
Great.
You'll never know.
Yeah.
We do have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on our show.
Hello.
Hello.
I was calling because I've heard the discussion about the labor law that may change or what they're trying to do. I have a question. Are they really trying to just say specifically to people operating heavy equipment? Or
apparently so. I mean, the bill hasn't been really printed. It's not out there for public consumption. They're going to have a hearing coming up on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. in Conference Room B in the state capitol in Salem, Oregon.
Right.
Did you get the phone number that they had to contact your legislators to oppose that?
Oh,
it's
yes.
503-986-1448. So call your Oregon legislators. Tell them you oppose changing Oregon's medical marijuana law to discriminate against medical marijuana patients and permit holders. And call that number 503-986-1448.
I absolutely will, but I just have a comment. It's kind of a bit scary because if they're going to say one select group of employees,
exactly.
When will it be? It's just the beginning.
If you sprain your ankle and you get Vicodin and you're not using it during your work hours, does that mean you can't go to work?
Well,
no, it's just solely for medical marijuana. It's clearly discriminatory, I believe.
I have a job. I have a card. I want to keep my job. I educate physicians, actually, and this is a scary little piece of legislation if it makes it that far.
Right.
So thank
hopefully
you very
we'll
much.
kill it. It was out there as Senate Bill 465 last time, and we managed to stop it. We can thank Madeline Martinez and Oregon Normal for staying on top of that, making us all knowledgeable about stopping that terrible bill.
Well, thank you for letting us know that it's out there, because we'll definitely get down there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
I think Madeline guarantees that it won't go quietly into that still night.
No, we're not going to let it go quietly.
I hope not either.
That's for sure. Hopefully, it'll just get stopped completely.
You know, I think it's important for people to know too what the real issue is behind that bill, and it's actually about the difference between performance testing and being essentially tested and having THC in your blood. Because right now, what they want to do, according to this bill, is test people, and if they have any THC in their body, then they're actually considered impaired. And they can have smoked a month ago or 2 weeks ago, so it really doesn't show you.
They're testing for metabolites of THC,
right,
which have been inactive for a considerable period of time.
Right, so they really need to test people on performance, and that's what the issue is about.
Okay. Well, if you have a call for us tonight, you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We'll be taking your calls for about another 15 or 20 minutes now. So the next step in the movie process is you've got the actual films are locked, you said, or something?
It's called picture lock. And just let me quickly back up. You know, we basically ran out of money for this movie.
Back when you were first doing it, what was
that? In
2003
is when it was. The budget grew 8 times what it was originally.
And you were still in Switzerland then?
I was moving back. I was in Amsterdam at that time. And then I moved back to Vancouver, Canada before I came here. So basically, we ran out of money, and it wasn't until recently when the THCF and yourself came through and actually have now enabled us to film the missing scenes, which we just did, and now we've got the thing edited, and it's picture locked, so all we have to do now is work on the special effects and the sound work, put in those little sounds of doors closing and that whole layer of sound that's, you know, in the background of all movies.
Right.
And that film will be released on April 20th of this year.
All right. Well, we look forward to that. Let's take another call here. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Yeah, hi. Just wanted to mention a few strains that might help people out.
Say that one more time.
I wanted to mention a few strains that might help people out.
All right. Okay, go right ahead.
Legends Ultimate Indica for at night because it has a higher CBD count.
Helps you sleep.
And I suggest that to be eaten.
Yep.
And then Phenotype of White Widow. That's the cross of the indica and the sativa. That's a good daytime smoke. It won't, or vapor. It won't put you out, and it does very well for pain. And then the indica version of White Widow is good at night.
I see. All right. Well, thanks for letting us know.
No problem.
That's what works for you, huh?
Yes, sir.
Right on.
Well.
Right on. Are you using the same strain year after year, or have you changed strains to try other things? You want to repeat your question? Oh, are you still there? Oh, no, I didn't think so. I thought maybe we'd lost him.
Love that White Widow, though.
I do, too.
Old favorite of mine.
You know, we have another little film clip. We had at the Hempstock Festival this summer a fellow by the name of Bill Drake, who wrote the Indoor Cannabis Cultivation Bible. I'll come back with the proper title here momentarily, but let's watch this clip and see Mr. Bill Drake.
Hi, my name is Bill Drake, and almost 40 years ago, when I wrote the Cultivator's Handbook of Marijuana for the first time, I had no idea that in 37 years I'd be standing in a legal medical marijuana garden somewhere outside of Portland, Oregon. And I want to welcome everybody to Cannabis Common Sense Weekly and to the shows put on by the Oregon Hemp and Cannabis Foundation. I hope everybody is a member and is a contributor to the foundation, because without the foundation and without Oregon Normal and Voter.org and some of the other great folks who've been working so hard for the freedoms that we all enjoy here in Oregon, this medical marijuana garden wouldn't be here, wouldn't be on its way out to help dozens, perhaps hundreds of people around the state of Oregon with these fantastic little buds. These were just a dream in 1970 when I wrote the Cultivator's Handbook of Marijuana. And so this is a dream come true. And I want to thank the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation for making it possible for me to visit this incredible garden raised by master gardeners on behalf of people who are in pain and suffering around the state of Oregon. Thanks for welcoming me here this week for Hempstock. It's been a great pleasure to meet everybody, and it is an incredible high to stand here among these beautiful plants.
All right, we got to thank Bill Drake. This is the author of the Cultivator's Handbook, and I guess we're working on a new version of that. The 2008 version will be out there with lots of additional materials. I think that thing sold about 10 million copies back in the early 70s. It sold a lot. It was big. We have another phone call. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi. Peace, everybody.
Hi.
I have a question. I'm currently very soon going in for my card. One of the things that I wondered, has anyone ever heard of people qualifying due to a panic anxiety disorder?
Well, in California, an anxiety disorder does qualify.
Okay.
However, in Oregon, it doesn't.
Okay.
The law in Oregon lists several specific conditions, and if you petition the health department, they might add conditions. So far, though, the only condition I think they've added in Oregon to the list of conditions is Alzheimer's and rage associated with Alzheimer's. Up in Washington, they added hepatitis C as a qualifying condition to their list. But so far, none of those other conditions have been added. Anxiety is a condition, though, in the state of California.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. There's a list of qualifying conditions right there on your screen. Chronic pain accounts for about 65% of the medical marijuana permits. Chronic and severe nausea also is a qualifying condition. AIDS, or HIV, glaucoma, gastrointestinal ailments like IBS, Crohn's disease, GERD are also qualifying, as is cancer. Asthma qualifies as a spastic condition, and seizure disorders like epilepsy and spastic conditions like multiple sclerosis, and neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. All of those qualify for medical marijuana. And we'll run through our recommendations for those in just a minute. So I hope that helps. You know, we have a series of classes. If you like the look of those plants, we have beginning, intermediate, and advanced cultivation classes, and classes on making medicinal grade hashish, and also classes on understanding the law. These classes, however, are only open to card holders in Oregon and Washington. If you're interested in taking those classes, you should call our office at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. And so we'll be happy to help you. So the movie's locked down. Now they're going to put the sound in and the special effects. Now I know when I was down there seeing the last parts filmed, you had some big blue screen parts that were filmed.
Right, the Green Goddess scene.
Right.
The highlight, the climax, so to speak, of the film, the download.
Right. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, we'll see that tonight on the blue screen. But a lot of the special effects are done, the rough cuts anyways. There's none that are final, but they'll be done here in the next couple months. We've got some really high-level effects people working on our movie. They're all very excited about it because this is true to their hearts. You know, they're all smokers, very creative.
That's true. I want to tell our viewers that the class that takes place, we have these classes on medical marijuana in Oregon. Every Wednesday night in the class this week is Understanding the Medical Cannabis Law. That's the only one that you don't have to be a patient to take. And I know, Chris, you helped us develop the curriculum and guidelines for that. So that one is available and opened up this week. You just have to throw that in there.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you're promoting the classes. You know, Andrew and I worked really hard to develop the curriculum, and I think it turned out great, and it was just, you know, a way to give back to the community.
Exactly. We have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I'd like to say that my wife and I just moved to Oregon about 4 weeks ago, so we're newcomers here in the beautiful state of Oregon, and certainly we've never seen anything quite like this in Texas, and we applaud
I grew
what
up
you're
in Texas myself, and Bill Drake, he's from Texas.
Ah, very good. I do have a question for you regarding medical marijuana card and how it might relate to an employer giving you a drug test.
You know, the employers are not required to allow you to test positive for medical marijuana just with a medical marijuana permit. Some employers will allow you to test positive, others won't. And with the way it works is you go in and you actually tell the drug testing company rather than the employer about the medical marijuana permit, and then they'll report that as a positive or a negative to the company. But there's no real way to know in advance which companies will allow you to test positive with a medical permit and which ones won't.
I understand.
Unless you ask, you can inquire directly. But without doing that, there's no other way to really know.
Right. And the second part of my question would be, if you do turn up as a positive, are they allowed to discharge you from your job legally?
Yes, if they want. They can, yeah. Oregon is what they call a right-to-work state. So employers can discharge you for any reason whatsoever, even minor things that you wouldn't think would be allowed in many instances. But it is something that they can. Now, if you have a prescription for the pharmaceutical pill Marinol, Marinol is synthetic THC, which is identical to medicinal cannabis in terms of the THC. And if you have Marinol, you can test positive, and they can't report that as a positive test once you have that pharmaceutical.
I see. Well, I'd just like to applaud you once again for what you're doing here. We certainly believe in what you're doing in a huge way. And
well, we really
thank
appreciate you
for
watching. And you know, our show's actually open to the public. You can come down any Friday night. We've got a little after the show get together that's going to be opening up to the public as well. So stay tuned. We'll be having a fundraiser and get together every Friday night after our TV show, starting here in the next couple of weeks.
As somebody that's had 2 back surgeries for herniated discs, I do have a chronic pain situation, and I will be down to get my card very, very soon.
All right. Good luck with that.
Thank you so much.
You definitely qualify with those conditions. Hey, and welcome home. Well, I want to go through those numbers once again. If you are out there and you can't find a doctor, or you don't want your medical marijuana in your regular medical records, then you can call us for a physician referral. We have dozens of physicians that can help you all across the western United States. In Portland, please call us at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. Up in Seattle, the number in Seattle is 206-878-1701. That's 206-878-1701. In Denver, the Denver number is 303-403-9996. There it is right there on your screen. It's 303-403-9996 in Denver and for the rest of Colorado. And then down in Riverside, California, the number is 951-782-9898. That's 951-782-9898. And then finally, if you're outside of those major metropolitan areas, you can call us toll free at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. So I want to remind you, if you're in Oregon, you're watching this show, contact the Oregon legislature and oppose the bill to amend the medical marijuana law to allow employers to discriminate against medical patients. Call your state legislators at 503-986-1448. That's 503-986-1448. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this film here in just a few minutes.
So excited.
Yeah, me too. Is there anything you want to tell our audience in closing? We're going to cut over to the song men over here and let them...
Sure. Yeah, I wouldn't mind just, thanking you on the air and just really saying what a great job I think THCF's doing and how it's helped our film. And I know 10 projects out there that THCF is responsible for contributing to and helping them get off the ground. So I think it's really great what you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. One of the things I'm proudest of, too, is we do donate $500 every month to UNICEF to help AIDS orphans in Africa. And I think that's an important issue out there. That needs to work. We've got a couple minutes, and we're told we've got another phone call. Let's see what they got to say. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to know, I just renewed my card.
Great.
And I'm without a grower, so I needed to know what I can do or what I need to do to find a grower.
Well, there are several resources out there. We have an online forum. As a patient, you can come in and get the password to that just by showing your card. We also, there are these twice-a-month meetings that Oregon Normal has. I know they hooked up a lot of patients with caregivers this past time. The next one's going to be Saturday, January 26th. It's on the 2nd and 4th Saturday of each month at the corner of Southeast 49th and Hawthorne Boulevard at the Mount Tabor Theater and Pub. That's every second and fourth Saturday. You want to be there at about 11:30. There's a line going all the way around the block this past time. I think they must have had about 500 people there. It was pretty amazing. They're expanding rapidly. So I hope that helps.
It certainly does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I know, we make as many clones as we can and give them away for free, and we often give them to the Oregon Normal meetings and other folks like that. So it's difficult for patients to get their garden going, though,
sure
at
is.
first. It really is. Well, I want to thank all of you for spending another hour of your time with us. We really appreciate it, and we want to help you to get out there and help end adult marijuana prohibition. That's our goal. We have a petition that will be out this summer for the 2010 ballot that we've worked on in the past, and it would end adult marijuana prohibition, restore industrial hemp, and help medical marijuana patients by putting low-cost cannabis in pharmacies. And so stay tuned for more on that. Thanks for coming in, Chris.
Thank you, Paul.
Really appreciate it. Thanks all of you for watching. Tune in next week and help us restore hemp.
All right.